Note 1. That all nouns and pronouns which one cannot call upon or address himself to lack the vocative, in consequence of which rule many nouns such as nullus, nemo, qualis, quantus, quot, etc., and several pronouns as ego, sui, quis, lack, or want in the older English, the vocative, but not so many, either of the one or the other, as is commonly taught. For which reason we have given vocatives to ille, ipse, hic, and idem, therein following the judgment of the great Vossius, Messieurs de Borel and Johnson, which they support by the following authorities. Esto nunc sol testis, et haec mihi terra precanti. Tu mihi libertas illa paterna venni. O nox illa quae pena aeternas sui curbi tenebras tulisti. Ipse meas aeter accipe summe preces. And the vocative of idem seems to be confirmed by that of Ovid. Cuique fuisti Hippolytes dixit, nunc idem virbius esto. Though all authors before them will only allow 4 pronouns, viz. Tu, meus, noster, and nostras, to have the vocative. Note that qui is sometimes used for quis, as in Cicero, qui tantus fuit labor, and Terence, qui erit rumor populi, si id feceris. Note 3. That quod, with its compounds aliquod, quod vis, quod dam, etc., are used when they agree with a substantive of the same case. Quid, with its compounds aliquid, quid vis, quid dam, etc., either have no substantive expressed, or they govern one in the genitive. Whence it is that these last are commonly reckoned substantives, because they govern the genitive. But that quid, as well as quod, is originally an adjective. Its signification plainly shows, otherwise we shall make multum, plus, tantum, quantum, etc. also substantives, when they govern the genitive, which yet most grammarians agree to be adjectives, having the common word negotium understood. This is a common grammatical trick of the grammarians to assume the existence of a word like negotium, thing. So the adjective is modifying this invisible word. Note 4. That qui, the relative, has sometimes qui in the ablative, and that, which is remarkable, in all genders and numbers, as Mr. Johnson evinces by a great many examples out of Plautus and Terence, to which he might have added one out of Cornelius Nepos. Note 5. That nostras, vestras, and cuias are declined like Gentile or national nouns in ars in the third declension, in imitation of which they are formed, as in arpinas, fidenas, and privernas, a man or a woman or a thing belonging to the town of Arpinum, or Fidenae, or Privernum, and may have the neuter as well as these. For Cicero has iter Arpinas, and Livy bellum Privernas, and so Columella has arbustum nostras, and Cicero nostratia verba, contrary to what Linacre teaches. I pass over taking notice that in old authors, especially Plautus, we find quis and quisquis, sometimes of the feminine gender, mis and tis for me and tui, hisce for he, hibus, ibus for his, is, illae, ipsae, istae, quae, in the genitive and dative singular feminine. Em for eum, istes for istos, quaius for quoi, for cuius, cui, because they are extraordinary. So he's not going to talk about them. Of compound pronouns. Some are compounded of quis and qui with some other word or syllable. In these, quis is sometimes the first and sometimes the last part of the word compounded, but qui is always the first. The compounds of quis, when it is put first, are quisnam, who, quispian or quisquam, anyone, quisque, everyone, quisquis, whomsoever, which are thus declined. Quisnam, this is masculine, quainam, feminine, and quadnam, neuter. Then we have quispiam, quaipiam, quadpiam, quisquam, quaiquam, quadquam, quisque, quaique, quadque, and quisquis, no feminine there because it's the same, quisquis, and quid, quid. And then we have the genitive, quiesna, quiespiam, quiesquam, quiusque, quius, quius. For the nominative we have other variations which are quidnam, quidpiam, quidquam, quidque, and quidquid. And the dative, quinam, quipiam, quaquam, quaque, and quaque. And so forth in their other cases according to the simple quis. But quis, quis has no feminine at all, and the neuter only in the nominative and the accusative. Quisquam has also got quicquam instead of quidquam, accusative, and quenquam without the feminine. The plural is scarcely used. The compounds of quis, when it is put last, are aliquis, some, equis, who, to which some add nequis, siquis, nunquis. But these are more frequently read separately. Ne quis, si quis, num quis. They are thus declined. So the nominative, there are variations here, quis quis, and then aliqua and aliquod, or we have the version aliquid. Equis, we have equa or equi, equod or equid. Siquis, siqua, siquod or siquid. Nequis, nequa, and the neuter nequod or nequid. Nunquis, nunqua, and the neuter nunquod or nunquid. Genitive, aliquius, ecquius, si quius, ne quius, num quius. The dative, aliqui, ecqui, si qui, ne qui, num qui. Note that these, and only these, have qua in the nominative singular feminine, and nominative and accusative plural neuter. The compounds of qui are quicunque, whosoever, quidquam, quiddam, some, quilibet and quivis, anyone whom you please, and are thus declined. So we have masculine, feminine, and neuter. There are two versions of a neuter for the most part. Quicunque, quaecunque, quodcunque. Quidam, quaedam, then we have quaddam or quiddam. Quilibet, quaelibet, quadlibet, or quidlibet. Quivis, quaevis, or quadvis, or quidvis. Genitive, quiscunque, quisdam, quiuslibet, quiusvis. And dative, quicunque, quidam, quilibet, quivis. Some of these are twice compounded, as in equisnam, who, unus quisque, everyone. The first is scarce declined beyond its nominative, and the second wants, or lacks, its plural. Note 1. that all these compounds lack the vocative except for quisque, aliquis, quilibet, unus quisque, and perhaps some others. See Vossius, page 335. Note 2. That all these compounds have seldom or never quis but quibus in their dative and ablative plural. Note 3. That quiddam has quendam, quandam, quoddam, or quiddam in the accusative singular, and quorundam, quarundam, and quorundam in the genitive plural, n being put instead of m for the better sound, as it is for the same reason in these cases of edam. Some reckon amongst compound pronouns ego, tu, and sui with ipse, but in the best books they are generally read separately, which seems necessary because of te ipse and se ipse, where the two words are of different cases. Is compounded with the syllable dem and contracted into edem, the same, which is thus declined. So we have here nominative, genitive, dative, accusative, vocative, ablative, and we have our masculine column, feminine column, and neuter column. I'm going to run across from left to right. Edem, eadem, idem. Notice the difference in vowel length between edem and idem in the neuter. Eiusdem, eiusdem, eiusdem. Eidem, eidem, eidem. Eiundem, eiandem, idem. Idem, eadem, idem. Eodem, eadem, eodem. And the plural, the same thing, masculine column, feminine column, and neuter column. Idem, eidem, eadem. Eorundem, earundem, eorundem. Eistem, or we have eistem. Eostem, eastem, eadem. Idem, eidem, eadem. And in the ablative, eistem, or we have eistem. Most of the other compound pronouns are only to be found in certain cases and genders, as 1. Of iste and hic is compounded, nominative, istik, istaik, istok, or we have isthuk. In the accusative, isthunk, isthank, isthok, or we have isthuk. The ablative, isthok, isthak, isthok. And the nominative and accusative, plural, neuter, isthaik. Of eke and is compounded ekkum, ekkam, and the plural, ekkos, ekkas. And from eke and ille we have ellum, ellam, and ellos and ellas in the accusatives. Of modus and is, hic kiste and quis are compounded these genitives: eiusmodi, huiusmodi, istiusmodi, quiusmodi, and sometimes with the syllable ke put in the middle: eiuskemodi, huiuskemodi, etc. Of cum and these ablatives me, te, se, nobis, vobis, qui, or quo, and quibus are compounded: mecum, tecum, secum, nobiscum, vobiscum, quicum, or quocum, and quibuscum. To these add some pronouns compounded with these syllabical adjections, that means additions: met, te, ke, pte, and kine, to make their signification more pointed and emphatical, as in egomet, tute, huiusque, me apte. Remarks on English pronouns. In the nominative, or the foregoing state, as the English grammarians call it, we use I, thou, he, she, we, and in olden times ye, they, and who. But in the other cases, which they name the following state, we use me, thee, him, her, us, you, them, and whom, or we call this in more modern grammar objective. When we speak of a person, we use who and whom, whether we ask a question or not, as in who did it, the man who did it. But if we speak of a thing with a question, we use what, as in what book is that? Without a question, we use which, as in the book which you gave me. And then it is frequently understood as the book you gave me. And we don't say which, the book which you gave me. Note that what is often used, even without a question, instead of the thing which or that which, as in I know what you design, as in I know what you intend to do, i.e. the thing which or that which you design or intend. As on the contrary, when it refers to some particular thing mentioned before, we make use of which even with a question, as give me the book. Which book? Which of the books? This makes in the plural these, and that makes in the plural those. Note that that is frequently used instead of who, whom, or which, as in the man that told you, the man that we saw, the book that I lent you. So we can interchange them. We use my, thy, her, our, your, their when they are joined with substantives or the word own, as and mine, thine, which isn't used anymore, hers, ours, yours, theirs, when the substantive is left out or understood, as in my book, this book is mine. Note that with own, or a substantive beginning with a vowel, we sometimes use mine and thine, we never use thine anymore, as in my eye or mine eye, thy own or thine own. This is not really used anymore. It sounds German to us, mine eye. We often use here, there, where, compounded with these particles of, by, upon, about, in, with, instead of this, that, which, and what, with these same particles, as hereof, hereby, hereupon, hereabouts, herein, herewith. For of this, by this, upon this, about this place, in this, with this, etc. Whose and its are genitives, instead of whom, of it. And it is a fault to use its, apostrophe s, for tis, or it is, as some do.